Hello, everyone. Welcome to the wonder of gratitude in our live webinar. Thank you for joining me and Paul in expressing interest in this live webinar. Today, Paul and I will share how gratitude has changed our lives and how we apply gratitude in our daily lives. Before we start, I would like to just shortly introduce myself. My name is Desi Simeonova, and you can simply call me Desi. I'm from Bulgaria, and I live in Ottawa, the capital of Canada. In 2012, I worked at Gloucester High School, and a few months later, my gratitude journey started. I was teaching computer science at Gloucester High School. I was in a room with 30 computers and no natural light, no windows. And I was not very happy and satisfied with that fact. I often had headaches because of the lack of fresh air and a lack of natural light. And no windows, no natural light. And this is something that I actually love. I really love looking at nature. I really enjoy hearing the sounds of the birds. And I didn't have access to any of that in that room. And I often had headaches. So I found the book and I was sitting in my office with some tiny little windows on the side. And I was looking through the window and expressing gratitude for the fact that I was able to see the sun, even just for a moment during my break. And I was now at a state where I was starting to value and appreciate what I was given, and to really appreciate the things that I have in my life. And I started attracting some great things to my life. I visualized, even though I didn't have at that time, a classroom with huge windows. And later on, while I was practicing gratitude at Nepean High School, there was this job posting. They were looking for a math teacher and a science teacher, and I applied for that. And I was a successful candidate. So they hired me. And the classroom was with huge windows through which I was able to see the trees, the sun, and hear the songs of the birds. And I was just really, really grateful, and how things may change when we start seeing what we have in our lives and appreciate it. And so this is the first time when I completed for the very first time in 2000. And so that was actually, I was hired in 2012 at Gloucester High School. So 2013 is when I practiced gratitude. And then later on at Gloucester High School, I taught yoga. It was part of the phys ed curriculum. And this was the second time when I completed gratitude with my students. The entire journey, 28-day journey of gratitude, I completed with my students, with my class, and they shared also how many great things happened. Like some of them found jobs, others received money unexpectedly, and they were so appreciative and grateful for the fact that I was offering this course to them. And then I moved to Nepean High School, and this year was the third time when I completed the gratitude journey with all of you who joined the online yoga classes. And I created a forum where I posted the lessons, and I also shared my personal experience. And yes, gratitude really plays a very important role in my daily life. Every single day, I find a reason to express gratitude for something. Paul, how about you? Do you want to share Our special guest today is Paul Samborsky, and he is the founder and chief gratitude officer of gratituderocksplus.com. So would you like to share how your gratitude journey started? And
well, sure. Let me just tell a bit about myself and what Gratitude Rocks Plus is. I'm an engineer by training, and I work in the energy field and in energy conservation. I work for the city of Ottawa, and energy has been part of my life since the very, very beginning. And now I'm continuing to work in energy conservation, but I also work with the energy of people. And one of the things that I find is my gratitude, now that I am doing gratitude on a regular basis, my energy level is so much higher and I feel so much better. And the energy that I'm emitting to everyone else is very, very strong and very, very much better. One thing the most important thing that I wanted to say is that gratitude is not something that's been part of my existence forever. I struggled with gratitude. I remember back in 2013, I was looking for a way to remind myself to be grateful on a daily basis. I would be grateful occasionally and remember things occasionally, but I was reading Neil Donald Walsh and people like Joe Vitale, Esther and Jerry Hicks, their books, and in all of those books, they mention the importance of gratitude. So I realized that, these people, Bob Proctor was another one who's really much into gratitude. And so I basically said, during a meditation, I got this flash of inspiration that said, put the word gratitude on a rock and then carry it with you. And so I went and I found a rock and I used a pencil and I scratched on gratitude on the rock. It wasn't a very pretty rock and it wasn't very much to look at, but the word gratitude was there. And then I said, I could do a lot better than this. So over the next few months, I used that rock as a way of reminding myself to be grateful. And I put that rock on the corner of my desk, a night table, and it helped me quite a bit. But then I said, I can make this much better. So I put my engineering skills to it, and I started making a really nice rock, something that would be not only a reminder for me, but something that's very attractive. And my current rock, it looks like this. I don't know if people can see this, but this is my current rock. It's gold with a black on top, and my name is on it. And it reminds me that I have gratitude, but my gratitude is different than anybody else's because this is a special color. This is my color, and everything about this is mine. So this is my way of my saying gratitude. So I've started a company where I make these rocks and I provide them to people who want them, and they're very, very popular. So I'm really very pleased with the things, and I'm able to help a lot of other people to remind themselves to be grateful. It's very important and every night I go to bed, I use this rock, I hold it, and I say 3 to 5 things. I also write a gratitude journal, which is writing down my gratitudes every night. So, I do this on a regular basis. And now I have this gratitude journey where I remember every day, and not only every day, but during the day, I'm reminded to be grateful for everything. And that leads to a lot more important things too. One of the most important things that I've learned is that gratitude, and there's a quote here, Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if people know Eckhart Tolle, but he has a saying, and he says, it's not happiness that brings us to gratitude, but gratitude that brings us to happiness. And it's a very, very important thing. And I have come to the point where I can actually honestly say that I am grateful for everything that comes into my life. Now that's a big leap for a lot of people, but I realize a lot more perhaps than others in that I believe that God is all powerful and God is taking care of me in my life. And I use the word God, but other people could use the word source or the universe. That the universe is taking care of me. And so it's a benevolent universe that I live in. And that's an important decision that I made, that we live in a benevolent universe and that the universe is taking care of me. So if the universe is taking care of me, the universe is much more powerful than I am. And the universe, everything that's happening is within the realm of goodness for the universe. Everything will turn out okay.
May I also show my gratitude rock, the one that you specially designed for me?
Yes, indeed, please.
Okay, so when I started that gratitude journey, the book actually asks you on day 2 to find a gratitude rock. And when I did my, for the very first time, when I followed the lessons, I had to find a gratitude rock. And one of my friends, actually, I remember once I was at her house, and she said, do you know what? I feel that this is for you. So this is actually the very first gratitude rock that I have, and I keep it by my bedside. And the third time I completed the gratitude journey with all of you who joined me in my forum, I received this one, and it was specially designed by Paul for me. I just chose the color and everything else came. So the Desi, and then the gratitude abundance abounds. And then at the back, it says, everything always works out for me. So I keep these two by my bedside, and I used to hold them every night before I go to bed, just to remind myself to focus on all of the things that happen, all of the events, all of the great things that happen to me during the day, and to express gratitude for all of these amazing people that I'm surrounded by, and all of these great things that are attracted to my life. And going to bed on a positive note actually helped me have a good night's sleep, and just calm and go on a positive note to bed. And in the morning, when I see them again, I remind myself, and I set up for a great day. No matter what happens, that's my intention. I'm grateful for an amazing day that is going to come. And even though, of course, there are problems all the time, but when I express gratitude, I feel that I'm up here, and the problems are just low down there. So they're still happening, but I'm looking at them, and I'm looking from another place, from a bit more peaceful, and I'm able to react in a bit more mindful and more calmer way. And I find that I'm still in that state of positivity and gratitude, and everything just arises and passes away, arises and passes away, and everything is part of the daily life. That's the life. That's normal. It's yeah. So yeah, these are the two gratitude rocks that I have, and I'm really grateful to you, Paul, for creating this one for me. And you put so much love and effort in creating this magnificent rock. Thank you.
Excellent.
Would you like to share what gratitude is for you in particular?
Okay. Yes, I actually do. Gratitude. Well, it's going to be different for everyone, but here's the best way to put it. You know, we come into this world with nothing, and everything starts being given to us. We're given love and affection. We're given clothes. We're given food. We're brought up. We're given education. We get into the world. But everything is coming to us, and everything actually comes through other people, perhaps, but it all comes from source. It all comes from all that is, which is another way of saying source or God. But the most important thing here is that what can we give back to source that he has not given to us? And the only thing that I know that we can do that is just to say thank you. Being grateful is the completion of what God giving to us is. So we're grateful for that things and everything that comes into our lives. And so then, you know, it's the best way for us to be able to say thank you. And that's the only thing that we can do. And that's actually a creation. Saying thank you is a creation outside of what Source has created. So that's the best way of putting it. Gratitude is being able to say thank you to Source for everything that comes into our lives. It's like saying back to Source, I appreciate all that you have given me, and I have grown up enough to recognize your goodness. I think basically that's the most important thing. Knowing that God made all the planets and all the stars. He made physics and chemistry, and he made all the stardust that we are made of, and and so that's what gratitude is. Gratitude is saying back to Source, thank you very much. Saying back to God, thank you very much.
I just want to add on one of the lessons in that book is about expressing gratitude to ourselves. So I had to look myself in the mirror and start expressing gratitude for myself. And at the beginning, it was really hard to find the things that I'm really grateful for. But the more I practiced, the more I was able to see how much beauty there is within me. And now that I was able and I became aware of all of that, I was actually able to see all of that around me and just become more aware of that, of the plan of God, of all of His creation, and which is instilled inside each one of us. So by practicing gratitude, by discovering who we truly, truly are, we will be able to find that uniqueness in every single being on this planet. And we will just be more appreciative of what we are given and what was created for us.
Exactly.
And gratitude, actually, I teach gratitude as part of my mindfulness, how to call it, one of my mindfulness lessons is on gratitude, because there is no way to express gratitude if you're not aware. We cannot simply say thank you, because thank you doesn't really connect. But if you say thank you, Paul, for doing that for me. So you really connect on another level with the person, and that person really understands that you're appreciated. You really mean it. And I have a lesson, and we practice with my students. We have to come up with 10 different things that we're grateful for, and then we share. And this also affects us, affects our emotions, affects our feelings, affects our current state. I remember one day, it was a beautiful summer day, and the sun was shining on me, and I was on my balcony, and I was in a bad mood. And the moment I became aware that I'm in that bad mood, I decided to switch. And what did I decide to do? I decided to express gratitude, and I started saying thank you for the sun. And I started listing and including the reasons. And right at that moment, I noticed that shift within me, like from that state of low, let's say, call it low frequency, to a state I was vibrating at a bit higher frequency, and I felt so much more connected with my divine self. So this is what gratitude is for me, and this is how gratitude changed. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, so what does it mean to be grateful, and where we may apply gratitude? I think.
Well, I think that it's a good question, because it's going to be different for different people. Mm-hmm. Different things happen to different people, and what may be a good thing, recognized as a good thing for one person, may not be a good thing for someone else. But it's very important for everyone to turn into their lives and find being grateful for the things that they're positive in their life. I believe that positivity and gratitude go hand in hand. You can't be grateful unless you positive, and you can't be positive unless you're grateful. Both of those work hand in hand. You know, you got to recognize when you get a special gift, especially when the special gift comes out of thin air, or out of out of chaos in your life. I remember one afternoon I was thinking, I really need to get home quickly today. I take a bus, so I was wondering if I should take a cab home. I had to get home. And then it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I leave at 4:30, and I get a call from a friend of mine at work, and he says, "Paul, I'm leaving in a few minutes. Do you want a lift?" And I said, "Thank you. Yes, I really do want to have that lift." So I was really grateful that day for that lift, just a car ride. So that's very important to recognize those little things that come into your life that are very special. So I said, "Thank you. Thank you, thank you." I really appreciate that lift. So gratitude could be, gratefulness it could be something different. Now, I wanted to mention another thing, you know, that, well, you know, I want to make down one of the important things. When you have a gratitude rock or a gratitude rock, you fill it with your gratitude. You reminded of the many times that you've held your gratitude rock, and the many things that are grateful for you. The more you seem grateful, the heavier that rock seems to become, and the more wonderful your life is. So gratitude leads to happiness, not happiness leading to gratitude. So I really understand Eckhart Tolle's remark very much. But there you go.
Yeah, so we can apply, in my opinion, gratitude in every single aspect of life. And the more we practice, the more we'll be able to see it. I remember I was waiting one day in the grocery store, and there was a huge line. And right at that moment, I noticed myself complaining how slow the cashier was working, and then how things are moving slowly. And then all of a sudden I said, what a good time to practice gratitude. And then I started saying, expressing gratitude. And all of a sudden, I don't know how that happened, but it was my turn and everyone was served. And it just went by so quickly. And just gratitude really changes. And as you said, gratitude creates happiness, creates that positivity. So once we start,
I love that example. I love that. It's a wonderful example of exactly that thing. Exactly. You know, back in 1850, I have a quote. I have a whole bunch of quotes on gratitude. It's part of my website. A guy by the name of Henry Frederic Amiel said that thankfulness may consist merely of words, but gratitude is shown in the acts that are resultant from those words. And so, and that's a very important thing to remember, that when you say thankfulness, it's one thing, but you have to express that gratitude in that way. And John F. Kennedy, the assassinated president of the United States, said almost exactly the same thing. He said, appreciation is not just to utter words, but to live by them. That means turn them into an action. So turn your gratitude into action. So I often tell people that if they're really grateful or want to show gratitude by acts of kindness or compassionate action that shows compassion, like volunteering in a library to serve people, volunteering at the Ottawa Mission, working at the church rummage sale, working at a food bank, helping someone, a neighbor who needs assistance on a regular basis. Doing positive things like that is a way to make your gratitude actually come alive. So that's very important. You know, God is love. At least that's my belief. God is love, and we should be too. After all, most people believe that our souls are sparks of the divine. So if our soul is a spark of the divine, so that means that we are part of that divinity, and we can show the same love that God is in here. Now, the way I show my compassionate action, which is stemming from my gratitude for my life, is a friend of mine, Sipinder Ratan, and I started a charity. We call it the Socks Box. And every holiday season, we put out boxes at different buildings that we've arranged for, and we collect socks, not used socks, but new socks for men, women, and children. Last year, we gathered 2,250 pairs of socks, and we gave them all to the Ottawa Mission and a couple other places. And that was my gratitude initiative, and if you want to call it that, is my outreach. It may be a bigger one than other people do, but that's not important. The importance is that you take a step out to help other people, and the universe will help you even more to get that done. So that's really very, very important to be able to go out and do that. You know.
I just want to add one more thing. When we see what we're given, when we appreciate what we're given, the universe acknowledges that. The universe, the creator, sees how appreciative we are, and as a result, we get even more of that. And the more we complain, the more we judge, the more of that we receive. So we are the creators of our lives. Whatever we want to attract, we need to work for. We need to appreciate. We need to be aware of it, to appreciate it, to value, and express gratitude.
Yeah, there's Zig Ziglar, a guy I listened to when I was younger, had said exactly the same thing. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you will have even more to express gratitude for.
There you go. Well said.
He said the same thing, and Oprah says the same thing too in a different way. She says, gratitude expands your awareness as well as your hopefulness and happiness. It expands it and makes it bigger. Mm-hmm. And so there you go. So those are very important things. A friend of mine asked me why it is important to be grateful. And I wanted to tell her a lot of stories, but besides being the only thing that we can give back to Source that he has not actually given us, it is also puts us in the receiving mode for more stuff. The more we are grateful, the more things will come into our lives because of our gratefulness, and because we start seeing that we're going to be receiving things. And that's really, and it comes to the point where we are expectant. We're looking for, okay, how is this going to happen now? How is we're going to get even more into this thing? On the back of every gratitude rock, I say everything always works out for me. And it's important to really, you can put that up on the screen if you want again. Everything always works out for me. And every gratitude rock has that affirmation. And most people don't understand it when they get their gratitude rock. And I tell them, just read that over and over and over again. And over the time, you'll start understanding that more, that everything's starting to work out for you. And people have often done that and been able to go through that. Now, I want to take a minute to say that living in gratitude is being positive. And I have a saying, it goes like this: gratitude has an I in the middle and of the word, and that is where you and I should always be, in the midst of gratitude every day. And so that's where it is. We got to be doing that every day. This leads to the positivity pledge that I've written recently. I don't know if this is my positivity pledge. I've got it printed out on a little card. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. But I'm going to just read it to you. And it says, I will no longer allow negative thoughts or feelings to drain me of my energy. Instead, I will focus on all the positive things that are in my life. I will think, act, feel, and speak positively. By doing so, I will send out positive energy vibrations into the world. Then I will greet with gratitude all the positive things that keep flowing into my life. And that's Positivity Pledge. And, that was something that was given to me by the universe. And it said, Paul, use this as part of your support of gratitude and the work that you have for gratitude. That's where I'm at right now. I have a neat story about how gratitude actually changes you. When you're grateful, you're changing things to other things. Back about 20 years ago, maybe a few years more than that, I had a friend of mine, or a person who I knew, who her name was Lily Black. And she was suffering from some sort of debilitating disease. And I was part of a church at that time, and she wasn't coming to church. So I started praying for her. When I heard that she was in the hospital, I started praying for her. And I was really keeping her in mind, and I'd say, thank you for her life. Thank you for her coming back. And I had this positive vision of her coming back to the church. Well, after 2 weeks of praying, 3 weeks of praying, 2 months of praying, 2.5 months of praying, then one day I'm working as the sidesman at the church, and I look and I see this lady, Lily Black, coming into church. So I ran up to her and saying, Lily, so nice to see you. And I ran up and I gave her a big hug, and she looked at me, who are you? And she didn't even know who I was. But my praying for her, my expectance, my gratitude for her coming into back to church, was part of the changing me. It was made me change. And so gratitude has a way of changing you inside and being grateful for all the things that are happening in your life.
Yeah, also gratitude played a very important part in my life. Just appreciating everything that I have, from my apartment to the fact that I can see nature through the windows, for the fact that my work is just 5 minutes away from home, for the fact that I have a computer, I have internet to connect with you, to share all of this, and to connect with Paul, for the fact that I have amazing plants at home. So just so many reasons. And the more I practice gratitude, the more I discover how many things there are to express gratitude for. And it's an endless list. It never ends. Every single moment there is something to express gratitude for. I go to work and I tell my students, you guys, I tell to my students how grateful I am to have them as my students. And I tell them because they are not only my students, but they're also my teachers. And they sometimes look at me and said, Miss, how are we your teachers? And I tell them how many lessons I learned from them. And it's just such a great way to it's also a great feeling when you say thank you and you really mean it with all of your heart. And when it comes really from your heart, it's just such a nice vibration, such a nice positive energy deep within that makes you feel energized, even inspired, I would say, to create even more gratitude for others. You want to share more with others. You don't want to have it only for yourself. And it's just that through these acts of kindness, we can do that for others. And I believe now is the time to give everyone the opportunity to share or ask a question. What do you think, Paul?
Well, sure, but maybe we can get them to start, let's see if they can come up with gratitudes themselves.
Oh, that's a very good idea. Yes. Yeah. So could you please think of something that you're grateful for? And you may probably write it and share with everyone.
they can share it if they want. They can, you know, what are they grateful for? I mean,
If
you know,
you wish, yeah.
Gratitude could be very, very, very personal, and it could be very, very open. It could be, I'm grateful for the trees, but others could say I'm grateful for my mother, or, you know, in a very personal way.
Okay, Lucy, you want to?
Yeah, I can start because I just got back from school where I have 16 wonderful teachers. So they do their best every week. And I had a staff meeting with them today, and I'm looking at these intelligent human beings who give so much love and so much compassion to their profession. And I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that I have this opportunity to work with them, to work with the children, to try and make things that will make a difference and will improve the life of the school. So it is just such a great opportunity I've been given. So, and sometimes we are overwhelmed with problems and this and that, and we think, oh, but if you look at it the right way, problems are just, you find a solution and you move on. But if you focus on the good thing, what is coming out. So these kids are preserving their language. So they're basically growing up to be citizens of the world, not just Canadians, but also they're keeping their heritage language. They're taught certain values. And so then that's the important thing. And of course, some kids are not going to listen and they're going to misbehave, or there will be problems. But when you focus on the big picture and what is happening, and if you have the opportunity to be part of that, it is amazing. So I just was thinking today at my staff meeting, I'm so blessed that I have this opportunity to work at this school setting.
Thank
so
you,
that's
Lucy,
from me.
for sharing your
That's
experience.
my daily gratitude for today.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thanks a lot for sharing. Anybody else would like to share?
Desi, how I do?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to thank from bottom of my heart to both of you. Today, this was amazing sharing, and especially I want to thank Desi for bringing Paul, excuse me, because I have heard about this rocks, gratitude rocks, and they're just amazing idea. And through sharing of Paul, I connected some things. He say, gratitude brings us to happiness. Because before he was talking about energy, gratitude raises energy, and this way changes our consciousness, and happiness is just state of consciousness, then state of mind. And we know everything is energy, but this through gratitude, we reach happiness in our life. And also, another, God is love, and we should be true. And I want to mention Wayne Dyer. He says there are two energies, love and fear. You are not in love, you are in fear. Doesn't matter, fear like anger, like anxiety, or whatever. This is all fear energy. Then this advice to stay positive, stay in love is number one, of course. In my life, I have read many books. Paul mentioned this Bob Proctor, Neil Donald Walsh, Joe Vitale, Esther Jerry Hicks, and what I learned, and the most important is to practice gratitude and to thanks for everything, good and bad, because we're learning. We're in school and we're learning. Then I just thank, didn't choose just good things to think about, but I thank in general to God for everything, every day. I am on certain age, and it takes me long. It was a long journey, and I continue on this, but I'm grateful for today. And Desi is an amazing person. I want to thank both of you. I hope there will be another occasions to talk about things. And want to mention charity actions. Yeah, this is something everybody should think about. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, people. Thank you. Thank you.
Which remind me, thank you very much, Lelu Ginche, for sharing. And thank you for joining us as well. And it actually reminds me, because you mentioned that we have to be grateful for everything that we have, doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. And I remember I was practicing once gratitude for a difficult relationship that I had in my life. And I was just, when I started practicing gratitude at the beginning, it wasn't easy to come up with some things to be grateful for. But then I realized that through challenges, actually, I develop and I grow. And I'm so grateful for all of these challenges that I had with my relationships in life, because they helped me be the person who I am today. And when I practiced the magic, she said, focus on a relationship that you had difficulty with, but instead of focusing on the negativity, try to find something nice. And the example that she provided, it was about a boy and his father. And instead of focusing on all of the negativity, all of the things that person, the father, did to the son, he started saying, I'm grateful that I have a father. I'm grateful that my father is alive. I'm grateful that I have someone who supported me. And just by making that shift and just realizing, even though that person affected us in a certain way, there is still something positive. And by making that shift, we can connect with the other person, be more understanding, be more compassionate, be more empathetic, and just realize that this is part of God's plan of Creator's plan, and that we're all here to learn, to become better human beings, and eventually go back to the place where we all came from.
Okay. Maybe Janetta would like to say something?
If she feels.
If she feels.
Yeah.
Just invite her to.
Hello, I just came late, but the things that I heard is so nice. I hope on to be the same positive like you guys, because I don't know, last few months I feel a little bit down, but now I'm so happy that you are that much positive in the things that you are talking about. It makes me to feel much better. Thank you. And Desi, thank you for all your yoga classes. And just I feel happy that I have friends like you and like all the other that support me and that try to support other people.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janetta. Thank you for your kindness.
Indeed.
And I'm also very grateful to know all of you, to be part of my journey. And every person plays a very important part in my growth and development.
People don't realize how important each person is. That you would not be here unless you were important to the position, into the world. Extremely important to be in part of this world. And I know that to be a fact. Now, I did want to tell everyone that if they're interested in a copy of my positivity pledge, and what I recommended they do is just send Desi an email, say I want to have a copy of the positivity pledge, and I'll make sure I send it out to you, and Desi can forward it or whatever. And what I want you to do is you can print it up, cut it out, put it on your mirror, and every morning when you're making yourself beautiful, read the positivity pledge every day, and it'll change your life. It'll really change your life. Now, in closing, what I want to do is can everybody see this?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yes. This is something else that I make with rocks. It's called a healing modality. It's a chakra rocks healing modality. I have put in an affirmation on every color of a chakra, and I've made rocks in every color. And what I'd like you to do, whether you want to unmute them, can you unmute all of them? Or you can just mute one at a time, Desi.
You want me to mute everybody?
Unmute.
Unmute, okay, yeah, I'll unmute everyone.
Okay, because this is something that I'd like to close our time with. I just want to say, okay, so what I want you to do is, can you get Jinkara?
Yeah, I'm working on that one.
Okay.
For some reason I can't.
Okay, maybe
could you please unmute yourself?
Okay.
Yeah,
perfect.
I did now.
Okay, what I'd like to do, and it's going to be a little noisy, but we're going to try. I'm going to put each rock up, and I'm going to say the words that are on it, and I'd like you to repeat after me, okay?
Okay.
So this is the first one. It's the
I am worthy.
I am worthy. So I am worthy.
I'm worthy.
I'm worthy.
Okay, the next one is I am clarity.
I am
clarity.
Okay, the next one is I am creative.
I am
Creative.
The next one is I am love.
I am
love.
The next one is I am vital.
I am vital.
I am passion.
I am passion.
And the last one is I am one more is I am grounded.
I am grounded.
Each one of those in the color of the chakras. Now here's what I call the 8th chakra, and this is really very important. Can you see this one? It says I am enough.
I'm
enough. Yeah.
I am enough. Okay, and I want you to remember this little thing that we did. We are enough. We're exactly where we're supposed to be. And any changes that we want to make in our lives is fine by us. We can make those changes. We don't have to change anything if we don't want to. It has to come from us. Okay, we are important. So the last thing I want to tell you is to say that may your voice be a house, one of hope, optimism, understanding, support, and encouragement to everyone that you meet every day. If you can remember those words, there's words to live by. And have a great day.
Wow, that was very, very powerful. And every single word that you said and read, like I was able to feel it in my body, and it made me feel even happier and more uplifted.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Paul. That was
I like the last one. I'm enough. That very, very nice.
I am enough.
Yes, I am enough. I call it the 8th chakra. And when you feel that once you get yourself, that you are enough, you know that you're balanced and you're fully compliant with this world and you're ready to grow even further.
Oh, wow. And it's all in the word I am. I am. See,
I am.
Yeah, I'm all of that. I am. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It was just so wonderful. I have no slow.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome.
Thank you all for joining us, for practicing gratitude, for trying and for joining, and for being brave to share.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul, for being with me.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Have a peaceful afternoon.